My baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left,
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Kickin It Stateside back again. Saturday morning. A gorgeous rolling into March. We are a few days from, I think spring is tomorrow, maybe?
I think springs tomorrow.
Spring has sprung.
It hasn't sprung yet. It's waiting.
Spring is going to sprung. But yeah, today we got some good topics. The U.S. men's national team, the U23s currently are in Mexico trying to secure a spot in the Olympics coming up this summer. That'll be in Japan. Also, we can touch a little bit on the actual senior team. They have 2 friendlies coming up this week that we'll kind of dive into. We'll bring our good buddy, Lord Walker, on to talk a little bit about that, since he has a little bit of insight on and the pulse on the U.S. men's national team, you know, working with them previously. Also, a little bit on the Prem. It's a little bit of a light week this week in the Prem. So we'll try and get into that. There's a few games. There's 2 tomorrow, and then there's 1 last night that already played. But we wanted to focus on the U.S. men's national team because we'll probably talk about that this week and probably talk a lot about it more next week as well, since the Premier League will be on pause. We're in the international break next week, so we'll kind of transition. We'll give you a little taste today, and then we'll really ramp up. And I forgot to say hello to Brian. How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful.
I just
How are
started
you?
going off.
He does. He gets excited. He gets rolling. I let him go. It's okay. He's filling you in of what we got to talk about for the next 2 hours, so I'm more than okay with it. Adam took that job a long time ago, and I let him roll with it. It's perfect for me. He gets you lined up, and then we knock you down. So
Exactly.
No, it's wonderful. We got a lot to talk about. On top of all that, too, we got to squeeze Champions League in there. We got to squeeze Europa League in there. Some promising things from both of our squads. So welcome again. Look, good morning, Tommy. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, everybody. I see a new face in there, Big Play Slay. Dude, I wish I knew more about soccer, but I have no idea what you guys talk about when it comes to soccer. So if you say something outlandish, don't even bother. I'm just not a soccer junkie. I'm a football and basketball junkie. It's okay.
We're here to teach you.
This is what we're here for. We've since you are new to us, this is part of the plan. This is why Adam and I had decided to do this. So, welcome.
Yes, welcome in. Also, yes, like Brian said, we're down to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and the quarterfinals of the Europa League, respectively. We'll kind of dive into those. See what kind of matchups there are. There's some juicy ones on both sides of the Europa League and Champions League. Champions League especially. You know, you got some big matchups. I think most of them are pretty good from my perspective. You know, I threw in the Dortmund, just trying to get that juju going because we're going to need it. And then
I'm rooting for you, bro. I'm rooting for you.
I think the whole world is probably trying to pull for us to get that upset. And then as a Chelsea, I'm putting my Chelsea hat on. I'm like, yes, exactly the team we wanted to draw. Probably the easiest and not even easy out of the remaining teams that are left. So it'll be all good. Europa League, your boys. With a tough draw that we'll talk about a little bit.
Extremely.
They've knocked out, you know, some Premier League teams already. They beat a pretty solid Rangers squad already this week. So we'll kind of dive into that as well in depth. And anything else is on the docket today, really. It's kind of this next 2 weeks is kind of just like one of those, we're just looking for some feedback, any topics that you guys want to talk about. We're always down to dive into that. Since the Premier League is kind of on the taking a little break and probably a much needed rest since this schedule and this year has been kind of crazy. Obviously, not to be any more confusing than what I already have explained today, but there is FA Cup games. So, with soccer, it's probably, again, like Big Play Slay, he's probably thinking I'm speaking in another language with all these different tournaments and everything. Very confusing, but there is another cup.
Is there still an FA Cup going on?
There is. This morning, I believe. I think Chelsea plays Sheffield either this morning already or tomorrow.
Yeah, I blacked that out. That's
once you get knocked out, you just don't pay attention.
Yeah, it's
basically. Let me look.
Basically.
Oh, yeah. This morning, we already had in the FA Cup, Southampton beat Bournemouth 3-0.
Yeah, and that's why the Southampton-Tottenham game was postponed in the Prem this week, was because they had to play the FA Cup game. And no surprise there, Bournemouth loses again. And their struggles continue, and it looks like they're going to struggle to even make this playoff in the championship. So,
well, that's another fun point we could bring
up. Which is just a whole nother thing we could talk about. And that's why we love this game, and it makes it, I would say it makes it a little difficult sometimes, because there is so much to talk about. Like you and I have discussed, there's a lot of times where a lot of shows are just one team oriented or maybe just one sport oriented, but like in one country where we're kind of covering an entire world of everything.
It's tough. And I know, again, like I said, it's a lot, especially if you're not like keeping your pulse on literally every competition and every, little nuance, even the national team. I know a lot of, our guys at A2D, they probably, what they're most familiar with is more on the national team side, mostly because of the women, because our women's team is actually really good. And our men's
the women
team
and the men struggles.
Mediocre at best in the past few years. And
unfortunately, that's what most of America looks at as far as soccer. And that's another thing that we've been trying to change, is that it's more than just a struggling men's team and a dominant women's team. That we really
trying to buck the trend, and I think the Olympics, rolling into our poll question today, you think for the first time since 2008, they have not been to the Olympics, which is kind of crazy to think about, that our young crop of, because obviously the Olympics is more like an amateur on some of these sports. So you have to be under 23 years old to even play, this part of soccer, part of the soccer, realm. So, do you think that we're going to make the Olympics this year? It's been a long time coming. And I think this group, they already got a win under their belt. They did beat Costa Rica the other day, 1-0. We'll kind of get into that as well as we go along today. But, sort of a step in the right direction. You got to get that first group win out of the way. You still have to play a Mexico team who's always good and we've kind of been Mexico's little brother in most age groups. So we'll see.
I'm from my perspective, I need to see them come out, and before they play Mexico, they have this game against the Dominican Republic, and they need to come out with a better result than 1-0. Costa Rica is obviously known for a little bit better soccer country even than the Dominican, so getting out of there with a 1-0 win, it was a nice goal by Jesus Ferreira.
Yeah,
the young, actually, believe it or not, the young Colombian kid, but he's still in the U20, the U.S. pipeline. He's still of that amateur age where he still hasn't made an official decision. He'll be another one coming up. And not to interject, but real quick, another huge news in regards to the U.S. men's national team is another guy choosing the U.S. team over another country in Musa. So that was a nice thing to see. So when we talk about the senior team, we could discuss that. But yeah, I mean, there's work to do. I think we have to get into the Olympics, because if we're trying to draw people back into this game, the missing of the World Cup obviously was a huge failure.
Mm-hmm.
But to look back and realize that we haven't been in an Olympics in 13 years now. So that's 3 Olympic cycles. Yep. That's not good. And especially, like you said, because it is an amateur competition and we have all these really good young kids now. So they had to have been the ones competing last time to get into an Olympics and failed to do so. So for just the sanctity of the sport, I think it would be huge to get this Olympics qualified for, get this World Cup qualified for, and really keep moving this thing forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, you really want to it'd be a good stepping stone, like you said, to the World Cup qualifying, which we'll talk about. Also, it's like we haven't been there. Like Stu Holden was a part of the 08 team, I'm pretty sure. Like some of these guys that you're like, wow, that was a long ass time ago when we actually qualified. And it's shocking, that we haven't been such a.
My daughter was
country.
born in 2008. Like,
it's amazing.
Teenager now. Yeah.
I saw that stat. Like, we haven't been there since 08, but it's just like, again, it's only going to help this country and everybody else that's kind of like starting to get into soccer and maybe not know enough, as a nice stepping stone and something to root for, because the Summer Olympics are the best. There's so many cool sports to watch, and with soccer being, a global sport and something that, me and you and everybody else out there loves, it's a kick in the butt and it's a kick in the nuts to see your country not even participating in the event. So
yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to be excited for Olympic soccer regardless, but like it would be so much nicer to be able to watch the U.S. team. And this kind of like, it's nice too, because it's like the wave under the wave. Like we have the wave of the senior team, which is its own kind of new wave. And now we have this other little group underneath that's also kind of making their name, and guys that are trying to break up to the senior team, and guys that we're going to be developing and being able to watch over time. A lot of MLS guys, and I know, that's another thing coming up too, which we won't even get into today, other than the fact that I did mention on a few pages that we would be doing an MLS preview show. I think April 10th would make sense, considering the season starts that following Friday.
Right.
So we'll set something up for that and get an MLS preview show going. But yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time, and I think this is absolutely a 100% must. Like Greg said, it's a crock of shit that we haven't qualified in forever, and it's only been, I think about it now, if we were in 2008, we haven't had 2020 Olympics yet. That's really what this is. So we've missed 2 straight Olympics, which sucks, but I was for some reason thinking it was 3 in the cycle, but we can't make it 3, put it that way. We can't make it 3 in a row. Right.
And again, it's a lot of these homegrown MLS kids, basically coming through the academies of the MLS teams. That's basically what that means, and that's pretty much what this whole roster is made up of. There's a lot of young guys that are still trying to, crack that senior team and maybe giving up. It's like almost like a little tryout for, Greg Berhalter, and I'm sure he's keeping an eye on some of these kids that are looking to make that next step. It's
which is getting harder and harder. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of competition right now.
Because there's so many. Like our pool is like ridiculously deep, like probably deeper than it's ever been. Because you get the Musas of the world that are coming and basically pledging their allegiance literally to the U.S. And even the goalie in the U23s, Ochoa, I'm pretty sure he picked us over Mexico not too long ago. And in the game the other day, he bailed us out at least a couple times on sloppy giveaways in the back, and he had to come up and make some big saves. So they could have pissed that game away big time. I probably watched up to pretty close 75 minutes of it. It's crazy. There's so many other guys that are waiting on the docket to be like, which country do I want to play for? A young Efren Alvarez, he's like 16 or 17 now. Basically, there was no room in the January camp or this U23 camp, so Greg Berhalter said, hey, go play for Mexico, weigh your options out, just to be fair, like, get your fair shot. Whatever you want to decide to do, it's totally okay with us, but it's like you should play for Mexico, at least give them a look and then make your decision based off that.
Plus, it's good time for these guys. It's good minutes. It's good experience. And if he doesn't think he can offer it, and there's an opportunity at this juncture, it might as well. Gives you a chance to play. It doesn't mean that they're totally not on board with having you back, but it's just deep. I'm looking at the roster now. It's just the senior team is ridiculously deep, and then you add what's already there in that U23 roster, and it takes a lot of work to break into this team right now, and that's an incredible thing. Like, we used to look at the team and be like, oh my God, there's so many holes. We need somebody to step up and take this spot. Oh, I can't wait for somebody to come up and take this guy's job. Like, good luck taking this team's job, because I'm looking at all these guys, and right now the senior team has 2 guys currently on an MLS roster. Every other guy, including your goalies, everybody is playing somewhere in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 MLS guys are 3 MLS guys. Aaron Long, who could easily be playing in Europe. Kellen Acosta, who's with the Rapids now, and Sebastian Leggett, which he's kind of been a mainstay with this team. So
he's been the one MLS guy that Greg Berhalter's been able to call on if need be, and he's performed pretty good. I mean,
he performed in every game but the one he was thrown at striker.
Right. He's like an upgraded Paul Areola to me.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more skilled than that.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at some of the other guys breaking into this team. There's going to be competition for time. Your boy Brendan's in there, so that's nice to see.
I mean, I don't think this cycle he's going to be playing much. Maybe he'll make the squad. I think he'll get into the camp. He'll get into the World Cup qualifying camp, but I don't think he'll probably go to the World Cup again. Good vibes out there that we actually make it, but I'm talking like we already have qualified for the World Cup. But again, that's still a long, long road to get there as well.
Now, once Mike, I'm not 100% sure on this, and that's once you've played for the senior team, you can no longer play for a U team, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. No, I was just thinking, if we did qualify for the Olympics, it's can then we come in and be like, all right, well, Brendan, you're under 23 and you're under 23. Guys, go and try and win these Olympics, but I guess not. It's pretty much.
I think it's one of those, is it worth playing some of those guys? Probably not.
Right. Well, they got to build chemistry with the senior team, and once you're already in the senior team, I guess that's it. You kind of want to. I didn't know if you could pick and choose a few to send back down to compete if they were within age, but I'm assuming not.
I think. I think Gio Reyna played last time. He might have been. I don't know. Again, some of these I forget. There's the U20 World Cup that recently just happened that we didn't do. We didn't get out of our group. I get that roster confused with our last Olympic roster. So I'm guessing the Gio Reyna.
I think Gio was in that U20. Yeah, he was on that U20.
Which failed to get out of the group.
Yeah, he was the only one doing anything, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so. I do remember that. It's a lot of. We've been saying it's exciting, and Greg, was like, hey, We are deep, but are we talented enough? I think you're seeing it, though. I mean, you're getting some production.
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't want to take anything away from these guys at all and what they're doing and say we're not talented enough. I think we're showing that we're on the way of being talented enough, and these guys are all not only just playing on these teams, but they're competing and they're making impact on most of their teams. But we've also said too, a big part of it's going to come down to coaching as well, and we've seen our boy of recent make a pretty dramatic turnaround. And again, I think I said it 2 weeks ago. I haven't really said anything bad about him lately. He's been pretty good in his decision making as far as the players he's bringing and things along those lines. Now it's really going to see, like, are you going to be able to get these guys up and in position to compete with the best teams in the world? That's kind of honestly, I think that's like the last question that we should have at this point. I feel like the talent is there, the depth is there in case of injuries and things along those lines. Now we kind of have a core. It seems like this last couple group has been coming up. It seems to be the same kind of group of guys with an addition of a few here and there. Like DK, obviously, he's the hottest commodity in U.S. soccer right now, so he's made his way up to the team, and maybe we solved our striker issue. Who knows? Like, we solved that, and
he's the hottest thing in Europe. Like, he's the hottest thing in England right now. Literally.
Oh, by the way, I just
Arsenal logo.
But
Daryl DK. That's another guy that's making his move to push Josh Sargent, push some of these strikers that really haven't solidified that position yet. And DK is one of those guys that, he's going to Barnsley and he's scoring, what does he have? Like 4
or 5, because he had a brace the other day.
4 or 5 in 7 games or something like that.
Yeah, he's doing it.
And Barnsley's up to 6th.
That's what I was trying to pull up the while we were talking. I was looking to pull up the table here, and see where they are now sitting at, because I think he's getting them right up into playoff contention. 5th now. They're actually in 5th. They've passed Reading. They're sitting 64 points. Barnsley is in 5th, with an opportunity to make the playoffs.
Andrew Murphy.
Listen to him.
It's always funny, right? You're always like, hey, they don't know shit.
Right?
Jesus Ferrara left a goal or two. Jesus Ferrara is one of those intriguing guys. I believe he's an FC Dallas
he is
academy kid. That he was one of those that when Dallas was, said to be having the best academy in the MLS, with the Paxton Pomacles and Reggie Cannons, that Brian Reynolds kid that went to Roma is also from Dallas. So they got a lot of guys in the pipeline over there at Dallas.
Who did make the senior team as well, Brian Reynolds.
Yes.
And debuted the other day for Roma.
He did. Pulisic has a history of injuries, and America is rife with COVID. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why Tuchel would let him just, peace out. Nobody's leaving that Chelsea compound. Not the way they're playing.
Yeah, since Freddie Adu. We've had more prospects since Freddie Adu, thank you.
The 14-year-old Freddie Adu making his
he was the most overhyped. They were trying so hard to put a star in that game from this country. And I mean the kid was phenomenal at his age, but it was doomed for failure from the beginning. Yeah, it was doomed for failure from the beginning.
Well,
you could see it from the jump.
He was great for 14, and then he didn't grow a damn bit. And his game didn't evolve at all either. He was the same player that he was at 15 when he was at the Union when he was 23. And he shit the bed for the U too.
Yeah.
I know we do use different. So you say footy, we're American and we usually say soccer, because if you
I
say
go with footy
football,
sometimes.
if you say football or footy here, it gets construed with actual American football, which is the king of the mountain. It is. It's a world sport. We all love to talk it. That's why we started doing this thing, so we could start spreading the love of footy to the U.S.
Bring the knowledge.
Trying to drop the knowledge on y'all. And
Speaking of love,
go for it.
It looks like Bayern's up 3-0 on Stuttgart in the 23rd minute. And that's playing a man down. Alphonso Davies went out in the 12th minute with a red card, and they've scored 3 since that.
Nice.
So Lev with 2 and Gnabry with 1.
Shocking.
It's shocking. And another shocker, Erling Haaland scores 3 minutes into the game, and Dortmund's up 1-0 on Cologne right now in the 26th minute. So Erling Haaland, who if you want to get an Erling Haaland Dortmund jersey, I suggest you do it soon, because they probably won't be printing many in about the next 6 months, because he is about to get a big old paycheck at Dortmund's way, I think.
He's about to secure the bag, as the kids say.
And aforementioned Josh Sargent scored a goal, except it was on his own team, and they are trailing 1-0.
I love those. It's like he scored a goal on his own team.
Especially when it comes from a striker, you're like, damn, I got to go back and find that clip and see what the hell happened there, but I'm sure it wasn't good.
That's
especially
cool.
8 minutes into the game when your own striker scores on you.
But yes, again, just a little preview of what's to come today. It's again, if you have any topics, we'd love to talk about anything that's on your mind. Prem, international. I almost thought to bring up in the poll question more on a World Cup level, but I'll save that for next weekend when we can really take a deeper dive into maybe the international scene as a whole rather than just U.S. today per se.
Well, that's what I figured, and by then, too, we'll have a couple more games that we would have been able to observe on both levels between the U23 team that we mentioned and the senior team, because I think those will both be played by the next time we see. Well, one of them will. They'll play Jamaica on the. You know
who really fucked us and committed to Jamaica? Mikel Antonio.
I heard about that.
So
That's
now
dangerous.
Jamaica just gets a little bit better.
Jamaica just got a big-time goal scorer is what happened.
I saw that. I'm like, no, go to England. We don't want you in CONCACAF. Go away. Because now Mikel Antonio brings that striker role to Jamaica to just add with the Leon Baileys of the world.
Yeah. My man Kamar's healthy again, so
yikes.
Your boy Blake, that's a good team, man.
I'm telling you, we don't have an easy route in CONCACAF. U.S. is getting better, but also that region as a whole, well, besides Mexico, they're kind of Their guard is, the old guard is starting to get there up in years.
Well, I want to touch on what Andrew said there, and then I'll say what if the U.S. took it seriously. I've said that so many times, that in the fact that, like, I don't even know if it's the thing about taking it seriously, as in it's more like it's just unfortunately not the number one sport. Like if it ever became where it was like the more attractive sport, we would be the most dominant team in the world, because our best athletes would come up in soccer academies and not, AAU basketball camps and, play football and play wide receiver and, turn those guys into goalkeepers and things along those lines, with that kind of talent and size and just depth of athletes that we have in this country and quality of athletes that we have in this country. If they were purely trained as soccer players from the beginning, we would probably be dominant. Absolutely.
Most likely. And again, all the money is going to the NFL with the TV deals, and it's always going to be like that. I mean, soccer is growing, and hopefully this World Cup run and we qualify, and then the World Cup we host in 2026, and hopefully at that point that'll get a lot of people on board. But again, it's like, what have you done for me lately? Kind of what Brinks said. They haven't been great. You're right. They've underachieved. I wouldn't say they stink, but
we're in a whole new new era, though. We're in a whole new era.
Soccer isn't exactly like the cool sport to play. Again, what Brinkman said. I mean, you don't really want to, even though it's not like an expensive sport. You got a ball, cleats, shin guard.
Kids want to play soccer being a parent, if you show your kids soccer from a young age and you teach them the game the right way, they do want to play soccer and they excel. They can excel. It's just that we don't. We're in a society where it's like, it's usually T-ball. Most guys, they want to live out their dreams that they didn't have of being, this football star. So they put their kid in there and throw a helmet on him and let him smash his head in the mix. And, that it is what it is. But
soccer's a good starter out. I mean, you would know.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, soccer, if you want your kid to be in any type of shape, soccer is a perfect sport to get your kid involved in. If you get the right coaching and the right training, yeah. You just want to make sure you get them around the right coaching and the right training too, and not just some dude who's just there because he wants to be there so his kid gets playing time and he doesn't really know about the game and he teaches them the wrong way about the game and not the beauty of the game and how to, get fit and stay fit and things along those lines. So you get them around the right people, and it's a great sport, and it's really good for kids, and it teaches them a lot of core values and things. So.
Yeah, I mean, Brinks is right. They didn't qualify for the World Cup last time around, and again, that's a kick in the dick for us.
He said, and he also said if they didn't have to watch the best teams in Europe, then. But I mean, I don't see any. Honestly, still don't see anything necessarily wrong with that. I get, obviously, you want to watch the sport in your country, and you have an opportunity to do that. It's still not the best teams in the world, but it's definitely a better quality product than it's been. And I feel like you could. There's no shame in still watching, and there's so much opportunity now to watch all these teams in Europe with all the streaming sites and all that. There's no excuse anymore. I mean, everybody's got at least one or two streaming sites, and most of them probably now have soccer on them. It's just becoming more and more a thing. I know stupid Paramount now, you got to get that and you got to get this, and I'm one more streaming site away from, I think, having the complete package where I can't miss a freaking game. But
right. I mean, it's again, we talk about this all the time, that these European clubs are starting to take notice that Americans are paying attention and watch soccer, and they're bringing over American players to market their team.
Well, and Andrew's right too. Part of the problem in this country, and something that I personally am working on trying to solve, and guys like Lord Walker who've been around the game are guys that I feel like have all brought us together, and it's kind of a project of mine right now with some of the guys on my team is, all you do need 2 jumpers for the net and a ball is all you need. You don't need that. You need a cone and a ball. You need 2 cones and a ball. You can play different ways of scoring. There's all different ways you could play. The problem is America's made it a rich person's game. And they made it to where, these travel teams and these whatever teams, it gets expensive. I can tell you from having a daughter doing it. It's not cheap to put her through it. And I get it. You need field time. You need this, you need that. But like in all sports, some of the best players come from situations where maybe they didn't have the best equipment. They didn't have the best this, but they just had the will to play. And they went out there and they grinded and they worked hard. A lot of the best guys you could see when you look at the documentaries in France, like the Pogbas and all that, where they come from and how they learned to play the game. They didn't have hardcore organized. They went out there on brick tops and laid each other out and then just learned how to play with feet. And
right.
I don't know, man. I think that the money, like they made it too much that you got to have money to be involved. And if we can change that and we can get other people involved in sports, in the sport, that would be a big step forward too.
Yeah, and it's going to help. Like, people think that, especially the people that are just that like laissez-faire fan that don't really follow that much. They think that the MLS is pretty much what American, soccer is and how we represent ourselves. And it's not the best league in the world. It's not the best players in the world. I understand it's not flashy, and it might turn people off from, watching the game. Or like B. Willie earlier this year, we told him to bet or watch the U.S.-Canada game, and the U.S. lost. And he said, this game sucks. Just one of those weird instances. And, again, it's not for everybody. Like, look, I'm newer to soccer too. I used to think it was a bunch of pussy shit. Trust me, I've been there. I've been on that side of the pitch, literally. But again, if you find a team, it's a lot better because then you can relate to it. You have a cheering interest. You have a watching interest. That's all. That's what I say for people that want to get into it. Pick a team. Throw on a game in the morning in the Prem on NBC Sports. Throw on a Bundesliga game on ESPN. You like a team. You like a color, for God's sakes. You got like a player that's flashy. Start following that team. Look them up. You got Google. You have all the stats, all the history. These clubs date back to, some in the 1800s, early 1900s. Like, a lot of shit you could look up. And just follow a team. That's, I would say, your first step. Once you adopt a team, I think it's a lot easier to follow, and you'll really start to enjoy it.
Yeah, do your research. Find out about their culture. See who matches your personality, kind of. Or, if you have any ancestry, you got some ancestry that you've dug up recently or looked into, find a team from there. There's a team in every country competing on big stages, too. So you have lots of opportunities to find somebody to kind of follow. And again, with the way technology is nowadays, there's opportunities to watch them. It's not like it was in the past where you were pretty much screwed and hope that you, and hope that you read about it somewhere, a couple weeks later because it wasn't even making the papers. So, Riley, appreciate you joining us. Yes, thank you for some positivity. I agree. So many rising stars.
Said it's exciting times. Just got to put it all together on the field. We're talking like we're excited and we think we're going to make the World Cup and we're going to do this and that. But talk is cheap, and you got to put it all together on the field and get the results that we think that they're, capable of. We just got to see it on the field.
I'm in a win-win because we've, it's either we're going to make the World Cup, we're going to qualify, and we're going to get to see them perform in the 2022 World Cup ahead of the 2026 when we are hosting it and get that extra bit of experience. Or we're going to fail to qualify again, and then the Berhalter thing will really be done, and we'll kind of see that it was kind of this recent trend has been kind of smoke and mirrors, and then my boy Jesse will get the job, and we'll all be happy. So
we won't hate it. We won't hate it. It is a win-win.
But like I said, I would rather Berhalter just be better and we just be good. I'm okay with that. And then maybe get us some success and then have to resign anyway and Jesse still take the job.
That's the pipe dream that we hope our beloved son, Jesse Marsch, comes back. But then at the same time, if that happens, we know that we probably underachieved again. And then that meant Greg Berhalter gets fired. But positive vibes only. I'm throwing out the positive vibes. That's all I can hope for at this point. Is to get the good juju out. Andrew Murphy, Rain and Pool Sticker Ballers. Yeah, for how young he is, Gio, he's a good player. I like to be interesting to see what his next step in his club career is going to be. But we'll find out. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Automatic qualification, baby, in 2026. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to back.
Yeah, I
into
don't.
that.
Yeah. I'm not
We don't
trying to
wanna-
back into anything.
We don't want to not make it in 2022 and then back our way in and get automatic qualification in 2026. That's like
No,
the
we
worst
need this
case scenario.
Olympics. We need this Olympics. We need this World Cup. We need the following Olympics. And then we need to put it all together with those Olympic squads, this past World Cup squad, anything new that has come up, and have the very best team that's ever competed in U.S. soccer history ready for 2026.
That's the year
defend our
that
home turf.
that's the year where
Yeah.
we're going to be having some serious expectation, because now it's
Yeah.
the group now will have already, again, hopefully, knock on wood, made it. And, they get the experience. Maybe they get out of the group stage and they get that game, in the round of 16. Maybe they don't get past that, but it's like, okay, you're working towards the goal of making a little step further. 2026 is our year. So that core group is a little older, more experienced. Now that's when we show up out and hopefully get to, a semifinal or something like that. That's the dream.
Raise the cup, baby. Raise the cup.
On home soil, could you believe it? I'd cry. I'd break down and
Signs
cry.
the apocalypse are upon us.
It's like the world, I think, would crumble. It's like the U.S. just won a World Cup in soccer. What is happening?
Yeah.
They probably get mad. It's like, you guys are good at every other sport. Give us something.
Yeah. That's being the first to play Barcelona. Yeah.
Hey, don't forget about Conrad,
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
I know
Conrad doing his thing.
It's going to be interesting. And Yunus Musa, of course, that was big to get him to come to the U.S.
Yeah, he's still playing in Europa. Valencia's still going. So
He is. I mean, again, we have our core. I think there's a good starting 11 that we have to base off and everything. So, again, you got your Tyler Adams. You got McKinney. Basically, those two guys are going to be mainstays in that holding midfield roles, most likely. You'd like to see Pulisic on either wing. I mean, Timmy Weah, you'd like to see start. Is Gio going to make that spot? Maybe. Who knows?
yeah, it depends on what formation he's running. But right now, DK's stealing that striker spot at the moment. Like if I'm Berhalter and I got to pick a striker right now, just seeing what's happening on the club level, I know Way has been playing better for Lille too, but like right now you got to roll that hot hand and go DK with your guy up top. Maybe put Gio and Pulisic on each side of him would be fantastic. It looks like McKinney was left off. I guess he wasn't released by Juventus. Is that kind of? I think Pirlo basically said he doesn't need to be.
I think he had a knock or something. There's a little bit of a
yep, nope. Yeah, he
injury lingering. So they're like, yeah, we're not going to risk that, which is fine. We don't want him getting hurt. Tommy says, yes, they better freaking make the Olympics. Exactly. They should with the even that team being young and maybe inexperienced, they still should make it. Granted, they didn't play their best soccer this first game in the group, but they got to come out against the Dominican, and you got to put it on them. You got to put it on them. Tomorrow 7:00. I know it's March Madness, but if you get a break, tune in.
Off to a phenomenal bracket in the A2D bracket so far, too, by the way.
I suck. I have no pulse on college basketball this year.
North Texas, got it. Syracuse, got it.
Nah, I didn't have that one.
Oregon State, got it.
I did have that one.
Did not have Rutgers, though. I sheepishly did not pick my in-state boys, which I usually at least pick my local teams to get out of the first round, but I really didn't think they were going to. But big ups to them, so congrats.
I see some Champions League talk. Is that where we're going to go with here?
Oh, our new friend Andrew is one of your lads, one of your Chelsea lads.
We got a boys in blue. Nice.
We got a boy. We have another boy in blue. Wonderful.
Blue's the color. Football is the name.
When we bring it on the Lord at the hour mark, what are we doing? What's our
yeah, we can bring him on for the
today?
last hour.
Okay.
I'm sure he's itching to give his thoughts. Jeff, what up? Pulisic on the bench if he makes the team. Well, Pulisic, getting an assist the other day, I think might get his confidence going a little bit. I saw him and Tuchel, had a nice embrace. I don't think Tuchel wants him to fail. He just, again, we've talked about this. He's a tough love guy. Again, I changed my name today. Tommy Tuchel is growing on me.
And I changed mine to dubious Arsenal supporter.
It's always something.
Oh my God.
Though.
I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy. We just win a North London derby and we advance in Europa, even though it was a very not convincing, lackluster performance once again. So, I don't know. We'll see. We get West Ham tomorrow, another big team that's been playing really well, a London derby, and it's
not
like
easy.
The roller coaster ride continues. So I don't even know what to feel anymore. That's why I'm feeling dubious, because it's like it's like I almost have no expectations. And now we're talking about Slavia Praha, the team that just can't be scored upon. And crazy stat, which I didn't even realize, that Arsenal was the highest scoring team in Europa during the competition so far between group stage and knockout stage, which you would never think that was even a possibility the way they've had issues scoring. So the highest scoring team so far in Europa is playing the least scored upon team in this stage. And it's not going to be an easy task. No. And I don't even know how to feel. I'm just so indifferent still. Like, obviously I'm out each week supporting the team, and I am not ready to get my hopes up yet. I feel like there's really nice trends of things happening in the right direction, but we've seen that before too, and then something stupid happens and you're like, why?
Why?
Like another year of David Luiz, like I'm going to be upset. Like, as much as he's stepped up of recent, he's been playing well, and he's kind of helped this little run that we have been on. Like, don't let that fool you into re-signing this guy for another year, please. Like, don't do these type of things. So I'm extremely dubious right now.
Riley was saying, why doesn't Pooley play? Well, he's been hurt a little bit, obviously, and I don't know. Chelsea also hasn't really been losing at all, and he's kind of just rolling with the same lineup every game.
Yeah, can you blame him? I mean, you guys are absolutely on fire right now.
That's why I'm like, I'm not even worried. As a Chelsea fan, drawing, Porto, that's the best you could ask for.
You think so?
I know so, because I don't see them scoring more than 2 goals, and that's probably all they would. That's not enough.
No, it won't be.
And Ziyech is another guy. I mean, the guy's not been healthy. He's finally starting to get into the team. He's finally starting to gel with some of the guys. Like, that's the problem with this Chelsea team. There hasn't been that much of a full squad. they're finally pretty healthy now. And Ziyech is, he's getting comfortable in the Premier League. It took him a little bit. Obviously injury bug hit him. So he's going to be fine too. And I did see people were just like teasing this like Erling Haaland for Timo Werner swap next year. I'm like, hey, I would love Timo at Dortmund. That would never happen though.
Yeah.
Why would he do that 1 year and then just go right back to another Bundesliga team, basically taking a step down because Leipzig is, all of a sudden better than Dortmund now?
To bring Dortmund back to prominence, score like 30 goals and get another big contract to not show up again.
Yeah, but if Dortmund doesn't even make Champions League, he's not going to want to go there.
No. That's a real possibility right now. So they need to get going in the league. Although it is nice. It is nice for a Dortmund fan. They're still alive in Champions League, so that's more than a lot of other teams around Europe can say. Somehow, some way, they keep finding a way in those games.
But I don't know. Before we get Lord Walker on and move forward, I forgot to drop our boys. Our good doc, show sponsor, Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. He has 2 locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's doing pre-assessment for any young kid. I don't know if there's really an age limit or restriction on that, but basically bringing you in, doing any, stretching, making sure, you know what you're doing for the season coming up so you don't get hurt. Just some like a pre-assessment. Just something to get the body ready for a long spring sport, whatever you're playing.
Yeah, make sure you don't have any pre-existing injuries or anything like that.
Teaching you the way.
Aware of. Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool feature that the doc is offering. Obviously, you could do online or go into the 2 locations, again, Burlington or Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And, yeah, get ready. Spring is here, man. We got baseball, I'm sure. I think Tommy said his boys were starting up again. He was back to coaching this weekend. It's going to be gorgeous this weekend, so I'm sure you got a lot of sports. Obviously.
Yeah, spring soccer is opening back up.
Sidebar, and we're not even supposed to say this. Did you get that email from Jordan? Justin.
Yeah, we're not allowed to technically say it, but
I didn't say it. I didn't say what, but
yeah,
I just asked.
There's some local sports that should be coming back and going here soon too. So a lot of promising news in the world.
Trying to get back, right? We're trying to get good. We're trying to get the college game back.
We're trying to get everything back to normal and everybody in good health and good fit. And, that's why we have sponsors like the doc. That's why we have sponsors like Body Check Wellness, obviously, one of our other new great sponsors.
Yeah, how about it?
While you're waiting for your appointment from the doc, get your stuff from Body Check. It'll keep you feeling well until you can get in for your physical therapy. You got the topicals, the gummies, pretty much everything that you need to keep your body feeling well. All done with the power of hemp, all led by former flyer Riley Cote, so a guy who's kind of been there, done that as far as playing a sport that's super abusive on your body and trying to get back and recover on a constant basis. And it appears that, it's something that's worked for him and it works kind of for everybody. So hemp's been a big thing lately, and they're another great sponsor to have here at A2D and on Kicking It Stateside. So
well said.
And obviously you can go to bodycheckwellness.com and A2D promo code gets you 20% off.
There we go. Yeah, it is. It's pretty sweet. I was looking at it the other day. It seems like pretty good products. I need to get on that.
Yeah, I've been back in the gym. Although I was out. I didn't even throw it out there to anybody. But I've been on the down low for the last couple of days. I was on potential COVID protocol watch again. Somebody super close
Uh-oh.
between but he has it. Luckily, again, I was somehow, I don't know what it is.
You've escaped. You've escaped
again. So not going to get into, but this is like the third or fourth time that I've looked it right in the eye apparently and got away. So must be the blood type or something. They keep saying there's links to blood types, and I know I'm an O negative guy, so I don't know if that's a big part of it or not. But God bless, I did get my results, both sets of results back in the last day now, and I'm
Brian is
clear
healthy.
again. I am healthy as an ox, so back in the gym I go again.
Healthy as an ox.
I'm gonna need those topicals
for sure. So Lord Walker, if you're new to the show, our good buddy, our friend of the program, Lord Walker, Liverpool fan. He's got a little bit of a pulse on the U.S. national team. Coming on, I'm sure, to talk. We'll talk a little Champions League, Europa League here when he was ready to join us. We'll dive into those two competitions. A lot of juicy matchups coming up. That I'll wait to really reveal. Again, follow us, Kickin It Stateside, on Facebook for all our new people out there, at K-Stateside on Twitter, on Instagram, Kickin_It_Stateside. Keep you updated on all the fun little Premier League news, Champions League. We got Champions
Look for the
League.
logo. Look for the logo.
Yes. Speaking of that,
A2D as well. Everything A2D as well. I know, Andrew, you did mention that you checked out. You're from the UK, but you've checked out the Colts. Which that's if the Colts are your NFL team, then right now A2D is a place for you, because with your new quarterback being their old quarterback, you'll really like some of the stuff going on here too. So make sure you spread the word on A2D as a whole. There's actually a really good interview on Weekly Roundup tonight, too. And I reached out to Steve because I did not want to mispronounce the guy's name. I don't know if he got back to me or not. But I want to say it's Daniel Spohn, MMA fighter, will be on tonight on the Weekly Roundup. So check them out, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going with Spohn. I don't think it's Spoon. So,
also, we have we're going to run a contest, and I kind of threw this out to Brian as well. We're trying to create a logo, like a crest, basically to, symbolize our show, not just our, up in the corner logo, but we wanted a crest so we could eventually put it on, scarves, T-shirts,
kits,
create kits at some point. So I drew up a few, maybe like 3 of them. I showed a few to Brian, and hopefully we'll kind of throw that out to the fans as well and see, what their thoughts are on it.
Yeah, we're going to get them up on the socials this weekend into next week and kind of have people vote on them. If there's anything that you think that maybe we should change or add, that would be kind of cool. So
I want to see if I can get them up here.
Don't be changing nothing that you shouldn't be, mister.
God forbid I'm going to get in trouble.
Mr. Background change.
Hold on. I think I could find I'm going to try and do this, but don't. Can you see?
Look at that.
Okay.
Oh, man. They were. There we go.
So those are the 3 I kind of created.
Oh, you got rid of that other one? I like that other one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. You can add that one in there, too.
So that one.
I think a combo of everything is nice.
Then we kind of created. This one seemed to be the favorite so far that I put
like that
out.
One.
Like a very Sassuolo vibe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, those are some of the four that I've kind of created. And I would love everybody. We're going to put it up again on our socials to see what everybody thinks and what we should go with. So that's just a little preview of what we got going on. Cool.
Yep, right. Riley said they're liking the third one. So what up, Willie? Thanks for joining us, bro.
Yeah, they better.
For the Qs last night. Yeah, they absolutely better.
Yeah, the third one's pretty sweet. I think, again, that's kind of like the overall favorite at this point in time. Again, it could be, adjusted, but that seems to be, it's to the point. You got the bridging.
It's clean.
Philly and New Jersey, which is kind of both of ours where we're from, are currently in. So just some things to think about going forward. We got Lord Walker, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey, guys.
Always.
Right on.
Hey,
nice kit.
Yeah. We're rocking it,
I know I fucked up and I didn't put on my U.S. jersey, but
it's all right. I understand wearing a Dortmund jersey right now.
This is also a Pulisic Dortmund jersey too.
Oh, that counts then. That definitely counts.
Yeah.
Representing.
You are tied with Cologne at halftime now, though. Just FYI.
I'll jump out the window if that happens, if we lose to Cologne.
And Bayern's up 4-0 with 10 men, so they just keep adding to that. A man down, no big deal.
Don't remind me.
Yeah.
Lev with a hat. Lev with a hat. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. No big deal.
Just another day of Bayern just running through the league with no remorse. And Leipzig dropped points recently, so it's basically Bayern's to lose now.
Oh, yeah. Alfonso just wanted the day off. He was like, we're going into an international break. Let me just get this 12-minute red card and get out of here early. I got to get a flight back to Canada.
Oh, my God.
It doesn't matter. Stuttgart's really bad.
But speaking of that, I wanted to talk a little bit Champions League, Europa League here, if we may.
Absolutely.
Like we mentioned in the beginning, both competitions are in the final 8 here. We're in the quarterfinals. So we got the Champions League. I'll start first, and then we'll kind of talk about that and move to Europa League then. So Champions League draw, we got Man City will be facing Dortmund. We have Porto facing Chelsea. We have Bayern Munich facing PSG Saint-Germain, or PSG, as like we all say. And then the last one, we got Liverpool against Real Madrid.
Yes, we do.
Juicy matchup.
I think we were talking about that in our little group chat, and a lot of people were putting out their expected brackets or how it was going to end up coming out. And it kind of came out to the way I was hoping it would come out, to tell you the truth. I mean, I just think that your boy Roman paid a little extra cash for paid a little bit more money than Man City to get the Porto draw. But I wouldn't discount Porto on a real point. Like, as in Porto, I even said it against some of my red fellow brethren have said it. I said Porto could win it, and the reason why I'm saying Porto could win it is simply because they've won Champions League every 17 years, and the last time they won it,
is this the time?
Was 2004. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's one of those things. I don't know if you like it, you're into that numerology stuff and all that types of things, but yeah, it was just an interesting stat that I heard out there, and I was like, that's pretty interesting.
I mean, Portugal is the wave right now in around soccer, so
for sure.
You may want to. I said you may want to be careful with your excitement over that draw. I think, and not cutting on, but I honestly, out of the remaining 8, I think Dortmund was I said it in our group. I think Man City actually did pay the most because they got Dortmund out of it. Chelsea paid the second most to get Porto.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, because that Man City, that Man City game is going to be great. I like all the matchups, to be honest with you. You have to like all the matchups, actually.
Mhm.
I hope Dortmund. Yeah, I hope Dortmund gives him a run. I hope Haaland really is out there trying to showcase his self, and
Absolutely.
guys like Gio. I mean, this is a huge stage.
I think every one of those players on Dortmund is going to be out there trying to, really showcase their talents, because they really all know that, yeah, this is about the time when Dortmund's going to start selling pretty soon. And I'll be honest, because I was reading a couple of different articles, and talking with a couple of my agent friends and stuff. And what's up, Tom? And one of the things that we were all discussing was about how the money isn't in a lot of these teams' pockets right now to really be doing a lot of the big time spending sprees that you saw, and I'm talking about also with the big numbers that we've been seeing as well with these transfers. So when you have your teams like your Barcelona, that's like $1.1 billion or around that number in debt. When you have, your El Galacticos, like really trying to trim their rosters, there's not many people that have, princes or sultans or whatever, or oil magnates, that are the owners of these teams. So you don't really have that many teams out there that are going to be able to make these transfers happen. And I think that one thing that they're saying in some of the reports I was reading was that they really think you're going to see you're going to see activity this summer. But it's definitely, for instance, I've been pushing it out there because I want it to happen. You know how you do the universe thing. Mm-hmm. And Koulibaly, for instance, was over $100 million rated player, right? But now his rating or his asking fee has gone down to 45 million, if not 35 million in some reports, but 45 million is more likely. That's a huge drop. Mm-hmm. And I think Dortmund is going to have that situation occur when they're like, look, we should have sold him possibly, we should have sold Sancho, for instance, last year before this whole pandemic thing happened. And now that they're coming up on it, there's not going to be that many people in the market that are going to say, oh, I'm going to pay $115 million for Sancho, or I'm going to pay, they're looking at somewhere 150 to 175 million for Haaland. Those are really hard prices to get, even with your Romans, even with your PSGs, even with your Man Cities. They're really hard ass. And it should be an interesting transfer period.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Dortmund doesn't make the Champions League, they're not going to have Absolutely. That extra money for that Champions League money to start, keep paying some of these guys. They're going to have to start selling off the Gio Reynas and, Sanchos and Haaland and Guerreros this summer. Just because they can't afford it.
Exactly.
That's why it's so important for them to get their ass in gear in the league and not, like Brian said, they're tied with Cologne. Cologne's sitting down on the bottom of the table.
Right.
You can't be losing or tying these teams and leaving those points out there.
There's an interesting article I read also about how Dortmund is in jeopardy of losing second best in Bundesliga status. Because realistically, your RB Leipzigs and teams like that, they're really doing well, and they have the money to do well. Mm-hmm. So it makes a real big difference.
Yeah, and the pipeline in RB Leipzig with, just that whole Red Bull organization that they have set up now, and the way they jump players back from, the MLS team and the Salzburg team, and they have that ability just in its own little, with a phenomenal, or what was in the past a phenomenal academy in the Red Bull Academy. I know it's taken a hit of recent, but there's some good young promising kids coming back up again in this next wave of Red Bull Academy, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it gets a little harder and harder for some of these teams to continue, especially if you are struggling. And, I see Andrew comes out and he says Sancho's 21, someone will find the money. There's no denying someone's going to find the money, but it might be 80 now instead of 120. Like, I get what you're saying is they had an opportunity to strike when there was a different market. I mean, just worldwide, it was a different market.
Exactly.
Money was different
Exactly.
pre-pandemic. So yeah, it's
Right.
just it's not going to be the same. These teams did take hits, they did take losses,
Yeah.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
you know it's gonna affect the players, and it's gonna affect some of these lower teams that bank on that replenishment money of selling these guys off because. Not to shake a stick at $80 million, but it's not 120. You know,
It's
like
not.
that's
It's really, really not. And
that's a couple more players. Yeah.
that's why, especially when I hear people say, "Oh, well, they're going to find the money," or "This is going to happen." Look, this isn't FIFA. We're not playing FIFA, online or something. So it's not like you can just, just because you do well in the game, you get this money. No, a lot of teams have been struggling because a lot of these teams have struggled with the lower end teams. Okay, have struggled with keeping their finances, keeping their books all straight. And then when you start to see these other leagues with your Barças or the French league, for instance, they had one of their major supporters from China pull out of the deal with sponsorship, money. Those things are huge, and it sucks to have to say the money part of it all, has some play in it. But let's be honest, this is business. It's a sports business, and when it comes to, oh, well, someone will find the money. Yeah, sure. If you have a Roman or you have, again, a prince of Qatar or something like that says, yeah, I've got deep pockets, I can go out and get this player. Sure, they're going to probably try to capitalize on the market. They're also not going to give these teams those numbers because who else are they going to get it from? If you kept coming to me and said, oh, I want to, I want your player. Cool. Like the problem is if you don't have a lot of people at the table bargaining or bidding up the price, chances are that price is going to be at some really low ball number that you're going to have to work up closer to the figure that you want. And that's just the honest to God truth about it.
Yeah. I mean, we put up on our,
and I get that too. I'm sorry, I was going to say about Andrew Murphy, and that look the structure of contracts because I've dealt with contracts. I've dealt with players that I've had to get signed to teams. Contracts are definitely always structured differently. The way that they're over longer terms, where it's all connected to sometimes how the player performs. For instance, if it was a funny thing, it was Coutinho went to Barcelona, for instance, and if in the contract, it said that we would get, and I mean, we as an LC would get $20 million, I believe, if he plays, $5 million, excuse me, if he gets, if he lifts the trophy. And he ended up, and Barca got out, but then he went to Bayern, who did lift the trophy. So then there was like this whole thing that they had to like rework and make sure that they didn't have to spend another $5 million. Right now, he's on a contract where if he has 100 appearances, Liverpool gets an extra 20 million. So there's all different stipulations when it comes to contracts. And that is something that I'm well addressed on. But I'm just trying to get across that money is such a huge factor in all of these things, and me and a lot of my Red supporters can get frustrated at FSG because we're a money in, money out type organization. Your Chelsea's and your I'd say your Chelsea's, your PSG's, your Barca's, they're more of just money versus output. So it's not necessarily related to how much you sell off or bring in. It's more so about how much money, how much revenue actually you generate from your shirts and your kits or your ticket sales and everything, and your marketing deals and everything else. That's all accounted, as opposed to Liverpool, which is, okay, we sold $135 million Coutinho. That means we can go and spend $70 million on Van Dijk, and we can then go out and get a Allison with the money that we just brought in. We're a money in, money out. It all changes. It's all different. I love talking this stuff because I believe that once people get better educated about soccer, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, you get a better knowledge of the game in general, and you'll have a better understanding, and you won't get so frustrated too. You won't get so agitated, like, why aren't they doing this, or why aren't they selling this person? That's just like, at least that's my personal opinion.
Right. So. No, I mean, that's why it's hurting some of these clubs around the world in any sport, because during the pandemic, game day sales are probably what's driving your revenue big time. You're missing out on the ticket sales. You're missing out on jerseys. You're missing out on food and concessions. That's probably your top three right there that your revenue stream. Yeah. And without that in stadiums and not having, people there, you're just getting hurt on that side. And you're used to having that coming in every year, and that's just like your comfort zone. That's what you rely on. Yeah. And with that not coming in, I mean, look at Schalke in the Bundesliga. They got hit so badly, and now they're suffering, and they have to sell out. They sold McKinney. They're going to sell some other guys. I'm sure Matthew Hoppe, our young American, is going to be gone, and they're going to get relegated, and they're going to be even more of a struggle financially, being in the second division in Germany. That's just, it's tough.
So what Andrew Murphy is saying, this is one thing, again, why I always like to just make sure that people understand the numbers. Look, I understand that not every team is worried about this. The ticket sales technically might sound minimal, but they're not. When you don't have ticket sales going on, that means that chances are your kit sales go down. It means that, again, your concession sales go down. All these different things. It also means that, there's employees not being paid. There's other things. There's all this different things that are generated towards the organizations. And KPMG, which is a accounting agency, did an assessment, for instance, and their assessment was over 43 clubs. And they said that there was a drop in $1.2 billion. Okay. 1.2 billion euros, $1.4 billion, or basically the equivalent of a 13% drop from last year. You're going to tell me that your company, any company that you have, has a close to 13% drop in revenue, and you're not going to feel the crunch of that, especially if you're like a Norwich or or like a Fulham, or Norwich isn't even in the Prem this year, but still, those types of teams. And
they're about to be back, though. They're
about to be back. They're true, but it echoes even down from the Prem into your lower leagues as well. The Championship League, everything echoes from the top down, and that is huge. And then when you have these companies like your NBCs or your Sky Sports and stuff like that, they're saying, "Hey, our numbers are down, or you're not giving us the product that we signed on for. Yep. We want some money back," and those things are why people scramble, why the NBA had the situation, why NFL had the situations. Everyone is feeling the crunch of this. And that's something that I can't stress enough. Like, as in, I get the big teams have definitely been able to kind of navigate it a little bit better, because they have deeper pockets, they have deeper coffers to dig into. But come on.
Yeah, well, like I was saying before, we put up on our Instagram about a month or so ago, they came out with the 10 richest club owners, and there's some that's really not a surprise. You got your Mansour from Man City, who's worth $20 billion. You got your Mateschitz, the Red Bull guy, sitting in second at $19 billion. You got Agnelli at Juve, $14 billion.
Right.
You got Hopp at Hoffenheim, the German guy, $13 billion. Then you got Roman at 12. Then you got Anschutz, the LA Galaxy guy. Then you got Stan Kroenke at 9. You got the PSG guy at 8. You got Jin Dong, the Inter Milan guy, which is why they've been able to buy so much and get so many players in recently. And then you got the Leicester Chinese guy, the Iowat, or Malaysian or some whatever, sitting in 10th at $6 billion as the top richest club owners right there. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 Premier League owners in the top 10 in the richest in the world club owners.
Right. Yeah. And again, it's a lot of what we're seeing is a lot of what I'm trying to get across to to our friends in the UK, to our friends in Ireland, and to our friends. I know that we have a bunch of friends that are all throughout America that are watching us. But what I can't stress enough is that, look, this pandemic has hit us in enormous ways that some people just don't understand. Like, as people I guess sometimes when people say, oh, well, they'll just buy this person or pay for that person, or, oh, it doesn't matter. It's over a certain number of years. So just because it's not like you got to pay all that money up front right now. I mean, heck, when Coutinho went to our team, to Barca, for instance, again, they still owed us $35 million. I've been speaking to some people as well that have been telling me that apparently a debt collector or a bank or something like that took on that note. So now they owe the bank, and Liverpool has been paid. I have to confirm that. But even when they did that, they still paid $106 million straight up front. Like, here, this is you. So even though it's 142 million or something around that number that we got, there was a lot of money that was just like, boom, it's in your pocket. Nowadays, a lot of those teams are like, we need to hold on to this cash. Maybe a lot of that extra little change that would have come into our pockets isn't, and those things make a difference despite what, you might not think that ticket sales. And I thought the same things as why the ticket sales were, oh, well, ticket sales, they shouldn't average out to be that much and everything else, but all change helps. The reason why when we're young, we have piggy banks,
Right.
So all that money helps. And again, and when we were also talking about, I was trying to bring up the fact about Mbappe is apparently going to be offered a $30 million contract by PSG, and that's great and everything. But, and I'll get off topic for just 1 second, but that $30 million that he's getting, I mean, some third star players on NBA teams make 30 million, I think Tobias Harris is making, and I love Tobias. Toby's having a great year, but he's making that kind of money. So, I mean, if you're talking about the highest of high players in the world of soccer is making $30 million, and yet, we have these players in America that are making $30 million. And
JJ Redick was making like $23 million a season.
Exactly.
To be a spot shooter, and play no defense.
Exactly. So it's so hard to gauge money and how it all works and how a lot of these teams assess where and how their team budgets are going to be and their team wages are going to be. And I don't want to get too much into the wonky talk about the money and everything else, but I just think it's very important that all those things are understood,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely understood.
Yeah, well, Andrew, actually, in U.S., a lot of money is guaranteed. There's really
exactly.
There's one sport, and the NFL is the only sport. Yeah.
The NFL's
the only sport. The one where you have the highest chance of getting injured and getting nothing is the sport that you have nothing guaranteed in.
Yeah.
The American way.
One of our buddies, Mo Vaughn, who I played for the Mets, loved him, came from Red Sox, great, was big time, got that big contract, didn't play really at all for the Mets. He's still counting that money.
Mm-hmm.
He was still counting that money.
my friend's cousin when I was growing up, well, it's still his cousin, obviously, but his cousin was Bryant Big Country Reeves that played for the original Vancouver Grizzlies. From Oklahoma State. Yeah. He was like a top 5 pick, huge money. Played a year with the Grizzlies and got hurt, never played again. Got 7 years, just constantly pay. All that money was guaranteed.
Exactly. And that's why the NFL, a lot of these guys, NFL, the players are now wanting their money up front. They're just getting a lump sum up front. And a lot of them are just saying, okay, cool, signing bonus or all those type of things.
It's very front-loaded.
You take it when you can get it in the NFL now because
look at that Taysom Hill contract. It's $4 million guaranteed money.
Yeah,
it's what are you doing? You're talking about someone that was riding the bench. He was
for a niche player. Yeah. It's
$120 million, but only 20 guaranteed or something like that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Not to get into the NFL, I'm just waiting to see that Kenny Galladay contract today.
Oh,
We'll see that Kenny Galladay contract signed today. Let's go, baby.
Let's get back to the real.
Yeah.
I wanted to go
I'm with you.
I want to get your guys' thoughts on like the actual matchups here.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think that Dortmund has any shot against Man City? I'm going to just throw it out there right now. Do you actually think?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, because this is the sport where everybody has a shot. Like you talk about going back, not to bring it back up again, but a movie that was made based off of the last sport we were just joking about. In any given Sunday, like soccer is any given day because we play every day. There could be a game on. It could be any given Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. Anybody can beat anybody in this sport, and Dortmund with a striker like Erling Haaland, you have a wild card, and you have an opportunity that at any moment you get the right bounce of a ball, and that game changes.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, do they have a chance? Is it likely? Maybe not. I mean, this is kind of where City does City's type thing and falls apart. But
hey, if that was the truth, man, like I told you, like and again. Yeah, Brian, you were. Luckily, I was watching the show, and you pulled out some stat about the number of what Man City versus Lille was going to be, as to how much they were getting, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put a wager on that. You realize that $100 wager won me $1,500. That alone makes me say, yeah, Man City could bottle it. You know,
yeah,
they could definitely.
They definitely could. I just have zero confidence in this Dortmund squad. They're fucking losing to Cologne right now, 2-1.
Adam, can I say this?
Did they give up that?
Yes.
Adam, can I ask you this question though? With the crest on your chest there, would you not say though that this Dortmund team is better than the French team that beat Man City last year?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And with that said, would you not say that their team, Manchester City's team, was equally as dominant or as well put together as they are this year as well?
Yeah.
Not defensively.
Okay. I just think that Pep came out in that game with the wrong mentality, thinking he was just going to walk over.
Oh yeah, of course he. Yeah, I mean, I'm just worried about the Dortmund defense dealing with their attack, because Dortmund just gives up way too many goals, and you can't give City a 4-goal, 3-goal, 2-goal cushion and think you're going to come back, because they're going to score at least 5 in the tie. I'm feeling it. You're going to have to outscore them like 6-5 somehow.
Yeah.
And Haaland's going to have to come up big. He's going to have to score probably 4 goals in both legs to even have to give Dortmund a chance, because Mats Hummels is shit.
Well,
he fucking sucks.
You have Emery Can. You have Emery Can playing center back.
With this on my chest, it hurts to say that Mats Hummels is trash right now.
I know. He's in history.
How are you at the point where Emery Can's playing center back for you?
Exactly. Because Emmanuel Akanji, who's supposed to be like the replacement guy, he's terrible too. And they bring in Thomas Meunier, who should have been maybe Thomas Meunier like 3 years ago is good. Not now. He was a free agent. He wasn't even on a team. PSG let him go.
Yeah, I'm sitting here questioning a lot of.
I love the Thomas Meunier again the last World Cup, not the
like
Thomas
these
Meunier.
Isn't the linchpin the man of your defense someone that PSG let go too?
Who that?
Isn't Thiago Silva a player that
yes.
was basically let go by PSG
Yep.
and is now anchoring and is the reason why you had this resurgence of anything of a defense, because your defense was looking putrid.
Not even though, because Thiago hasn't even played under Tuchel that much.
He's not even making that big of a difference.
He was a big difference in the beginning of the season, would you know?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I mean.
And he's definitely a difference in the locker
now,
room.
I understand.
I mean, yeah, he's a difference in the locker room. He's got the experience.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, this is
segue
not
right
good
into
for.
that.
This is not. Yeah, I was going to say before we close it out, but we could just segue right into it. So Dortmund's struggling, and Frankfurt's winning again, so that's not good for you today.
No. And that
But
makes
yes,
Dortmund
now you got-
I don't. I think that doesn't even. That has no. The only reason I'm saying it has no bearing on Champions League is because everyone, just the same thing as excuse me, which was going on for Liverpool, is that a lot of interest, like as in when you're solely understanding that the only way you're going to play Champions League possibly is by winning this. They're going. It's a WC player. The only reason why you're going to actually have a difference in your team is by you concentrating on what competitions matter, And I
just don't think.
I was surprised with Tottenham, for instance. I hope we talked about that as well, but which is my surprise. Holy crap!
Oh, we will talk about that. I that has to come out on the show because I have to. I still have to celebrate that, but yeah, I mean, Dortmund at least is still in a position to get in a top 4 spot in a league such as the Bundesliga. Like, there's no reason Dortmund shouldn't be ahead of Wolfsburg or Frankfurt. There's zero reason for that. Like, I can understand not competing with Bayern. I can understand even, like you said, Leipzig getting way better and having the financial support. But, like, Dortmund's got to be able to – they don't want to have to – they don't want to be in a position where they're trying to now force everything to try and win Champions League. Because out of the 8 teams, I just don't think, realistically, where we say anybody can win, I don't know if they have enough to push for a Champions League trophy. They got to worry about – they should be putting, honestly, their focus into the Bundesliga and be trying to get into that top 4.
So, I'm not thinking that – who just won and I don't want to – Ohio State just lost, right? You guys talk about the brackets, right? Ohio State lost to what? Oral Roberts, I think.
But these are one. Yeah, but these are one opportunities. These aren't 2 legs.
I get that. I get it. But all the same, all I'm saying is Georgetown, a team in school with my heart. Georgetown. Patrick Ewing led a Georgetown team that wasn't even remotely supposed to get to where they got to the Big East tournament championship and won it. And now they're in, and then they got their birth into the tournament.
I had season tickets to Princeton basketball growing up. I watched Gabe Lewellis go backdoor on UCLA, and
exactly.
anybody can beat anybody. I get that,
exactly.
But I don't think they're making a title run. I mean, we're only in the 8. That's a long way to go. They could give Man City some trouble possibly, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it'd be interesting. I'm not saying they're going to – Dortmund's not my pick to win it. I'm not saying that. but I am saying that, hey, stranger things have happened. It could be a good matchup.
Exactly.
Stranger things have happened, and I think it's a great matchup. I love the youth on Dortmund. I love the fact that they have a lot of players that are going to be looking to showcase their talents. No bigger platform to do it than the Champions League. So I'm hoping and anticipating a good clash.
Sell them all. Sell Johan Brandt to Arsenal.
All right. Well, then let's move on to the second game of the opening week. We'll do it by that, considering that is literally the one of the first games. Well, they're played at the same time. So Tuesday, April 6th is when we fire back up.
Thanks,
and
Andrew.
your team.
Yeah, thank you.
Your team, Liverpool, will be traveling to Real, to Spain, most likely, unless you're thrown into another neutral site again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is one of those matchups where it's just soccer royalty, I guess. Soccer royalty. Is that
hard to say it,
but Real Madrid, Liverpool. I mean,
yeah. Even with my name, I could say it very easily. That is something. Yes, I am definitely heavily anticipating this matchup. I think that's going to be a very interesting one. Simply for the fact that Klopp said it himself. Hey, it's going to be fun. He's excited, and the fact that Real Madrid, that we have history with them, makes it that much more exciting. The fact that Real Madrid's easily one of the top teams in the world, respected wise at least, and that alone makes it again a bigger spectrum for us to really put interest in winning this game or winning these games. So I really look forward to these matchups. And hey, now that we have our set team, and now that we have this somewhat unifying gel that we're trying to put together more and more, I like our chances. I'll be just straight up honest.
It'll be tough.
It's going to be. Come on. Yeah, every game for every team is going to be tough. Absolutely. But
Sergio Ramos.
It's not such a scary Madrid team, though. You know what I mean? Like
it's not
a Madrid team of like 4 or 5 years ago, or
you don't have Gareth Bale coming off the bench. In form, Gareth Bale coming off the bench. To put in a bicycle kick. Into top corner.
You don't have Ronaldo.
You don't have those players. And I'm not saying that Real Madrid isn't a good team. Still, they are. They're an excellent team. And I really think that they're going to Barca, even Real Madrid could really push for Atletico Madrid for the title. Still, I don't think Atletico Madrid has a lock.
My favorite scumbag, most underrated striker in the world, Karim Benzema. My boy.
Yeah, he's a beast, though.
He's so good.
He just
scores goals.
He's so good. Yeah. He's gritty. He's grimy, and he is good. And
he doesn't get the recognition, though. He doesn't get the love, I feel. Probably because he's an asshole, and not a great guy off the pitch, apparently. And we've seen it in the news.
They've had their own.
But dude can just score goals, man.
They've definitely had their own forms of struggles, though, this year. Without a doubt. They're not. I don't know. They're not that scary to me. Getting dominated by Shakhtar the way they did in group stage. I don't care if it's group stage or not. Like that's a really high class, world class Real Madrid team doesn't ever let that happen.
But they got past a gritty Atalanta team.
Yeah, because they're still Madrid. I mean, they're still Madrid. So I'm not taking anything away from it. This is going to be one. I think that's going to be a really fun matchup. Like, I love a matchup like this.
And
honestly, I think all 4 matchups are exciting.
Yeah, no, I was going to really point out that the fact that Real Madrid has won out of the last 10 times we've played them. Real Madrid has won the last 7. We won the first 3, then they've won the last 7. That's not a good number to throw out there. But you know what? Like you've had your lucky 7, and 8 is not going to be coming. How about that? At least I hope it's not.
It's it's an entertaining 2 legs, definitely. It could go either way. It depends on which. I mean, again, Real Madrid is getting a little older. Toni Kroos is getting old. Modric is old. They got to rely on some of these younger guys like the Lucas Vazquez's of the world, and the Marco Asensios have to step up a little bit more. But again, you still got Sergio Ramos back there, the stalwart. Hate him or not, good player.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Same with Benzema. You could hate him or not.
He's the best 30 player in soccer.
Yeah, I agree. He's very dirty, but for some reason, the man he does it all.
Oh, absolutely. He's
and if they struggle in the first leg, expect a Sergio Ramos red card in the second leg.
He already missed the first leg of the Atalanta tie.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then the following day, April 7th, returning champions. Bayern takes on PSG.
Yeah.
Should be that's a rematch.
I want to
of the
say
final.
that's going to be interesting, but I really don't think it's going to be.
Why? Why would you say that? I'm interested to hear your opinion.
I think Bayern's just too good. I think PSG is not that great.
Oh wow, really?
No,
they have great talent, but they're not
amazing talent.
Amazing talent.
Amazing talent.
I don't think they're. I like the only guy I like on their defense is Prisnel Kimpembe, just because I followed him for like the past 6 years. He's a kid that came up in the PSG academy, and he's their starting center back, who I never thought he would actually amount to anything, but he's like their guy in the middle. Other than that, I Kurzawa is nothing to be scared about. He's not that good.
I get that. It's going to be
Marquinhos,
interesting.
I respect the hell out of him too. He's another guy that's going to be playing until he's, 40 years old.
I get that. I was just going to say, though, with the COVID thing does make a difference because of, if we're playing in neutral sites and how Germany has this whole thing. You have to quarantine if you go here or there and this and that, all those other different things. And I still am openly protesting that that there should be asterisks on all these competitions simply because of those reasons. Some teams get to play at home, some teams don't get to play at home. Some teams will have a home game, and some teams will have to play away. Those things aren't exactly fair. And then also, we have some teams are even allowed to possibly even have people or fans in the crowd, and some aren't. Those things are all points, but you got to realize PSG has won. They've played Bayern, I believe, at home, and they've won 4 times against them at home. The only time that Bayern has beat them was in that final. Okay, so that alone is a great stat, to have in your back pocket, or at least in your mindset, to say, hey, you guys got to come to, you guys got to come to Paris, and you're going to have to play, and you're going to have to really perform. And there's been, and I was hoping to get on to talk to you about, because I know Bayern's your squad, but there's been rumblings about Bayern, about, inner rumblings with the sporting director and the manager, and not being on the same page, not cohesively being together. And there now have been reports now that, they're starting to put their differences aside and say, let's just concentrate on getting this Championship League trophy, and let's just concentrate on really holding on to our control of the Bundesliga. But that's something to really keep in mind. And again, the manager of Bayern has, been one of the top managers to be offered or being circulated to be in the running for the job of Germany. It's huge.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's done nothing but come in and get that thing going again.
Exactly.
He's been there.
Exactly. And that's something that means something. And I just talked about those rumblings. He might say, hey, you know what? All right, if you guys aren't going to back me, or you're not, or we're going to keep going head to head, because he hasn't it was all over signings. And because he hasn't gotten some of these really important signings completed, basically being the sporting director. And those things are important to a coach, and the coach is like saying, hey, maybe it's time for me to just move on if this organization isn't going to really back me.
I know that vibe.
Considering that I just pulled you guys out of this, like, I wouldn't say tailspin, but definitely on a dive.
I mean, they were pretty shit under Niko Kovac.
Exactly.
They were sixth in the Bundesliga when he took over, and they went on to win the league and Champions League. And 4 other trophies, in that time. So he's done a hell of a job. I mean, he's got quite the resume that he can stand behind and say, listen, hey, if you owe me the respect to do what I need to do to. If
he wants a challenge, take the Germany job once Jurgen Low leaves. Because on Bayern, you're just going to win trophy after trophy every season, especially if you're bringing in Upamecano to help your defense. Like,
yeah, I'm so excited about that.
What's the fun in that? Like, come on, man.
Still up 4-0 on Stuttgart with a man down. By the way,
hate it. It's making me not want to watch the Bundesliga at all. And it
2-1 Cologne in the 85th minute. How many times is Erling Haaland going to score in the first 5 minutes of a game and then just leave him hanging high and dry for another 85 minutes?
You also have to give credit.
That's a great question, Brian.
You have to give credit to Poch. I was just going to say, you have to give credit to Poch. Pochettino has come in and really done well with PSG. I mean, Tuchel, your guy, apparently lost the locker room. And PSG was in a very similar place as your Bayern as well, and these are two teams that have really pulled it together. and have really started to find some real form and some real unity. And they're both two teams that I'm excited to see play against each other because they're two both high power teams.
I'd say you're going to see some goals probably in that.
And then,
well, Poch is a freaking respected manager. That's why they probably didn't mind bringing in him instead of Tuchel.
Well, now Tuchel gets his opportunity as well. Maybe they'll have a little matchup at some point.
It's going to happen.
That's our last one, and that's Chelsea and Porto.
Yeah,
so I think we've discussed it at length, and I mean, Adam's not scared. We know that.
Center back Pepe, he's like 45 years old.
Wow. Okay.
I'm looking at the roster.
Portugal's the wave right now. Portugal is the wave right now. Just know it. That's all the hype. ESPN says it. Portugal's the wave right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really know their shit.
They're 5-3. Their matchup, I believe, is 5-3, and I believe Chelsea has won the last 4 matches at home. I believe. I want to say they won the last 4 matches at Stamford. You can double check that on me. But hey, a lot of these things, these home matchups really aren't home matchups. They're just, it's just a stadium you're playing in.
Yeah.
It's just what time you'll be home for dinner, basically. Because there's
it's been a while since they've. Sorry, no, go ahead.
It's definitely been a while since they had.
2015 was the last run in. Chelsea won 2-0 in the December game. They played in September 29th of 15. Porto won 2-1. So it looks like Chelsea probably advanced with a road goal in that one. And then 1-0 Chelsea back in 2009 on the road, and 1-0 Chelsea also at home in 2009. So yeah, Chelsea's handled it pretty well. Yeah. Looks like over.
Ain't worried. They got to break us down. They ain't gonna do it.
You got to admit, you got to be excited for all these things. I know. Of
course.
All these games are exciting games. This is basically the script that I was hoping that would amount to happening, and I'm very, very intrigued to see all these games play out.
Yeah, I mean, it should be exciting. Like I said, I thought all of the matchups have some juicy details in itself.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, some little backstories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about it, So if Ramos ends up with a broken collarbone, hey, things happen. Whoops, a daisy. Sorry about that.
So there is one other league in Europe. It's not quite as lucrative as the Champions League, obviously, but it's still important, and the winner does get their berth into Champions League, and there's a lot of teams vying for that spot. That's going to be their only opportunity to make that happen. Yes. So we're down to 8 there too.
Yeah, man.
And they're all on Thursday because that's the big joke in Europe is
fun.
If you're playing on Thursday, ha. Like, yeah. So, but
Dirty.
We get we get some Thursday night football. All games are played at the same time. Also for kind of gambling purposes as well. And something they do over there, which I actually think American sports should do more of, especially on final game days, final weeks. Everybody should be playing at the same time so people can't tank and do stupid things. But that's a whole nother show and a whole nother question. But you got Ajax hosting Roma. I think that's a really awesome matchup. Two clubs that, of recent have played really well, that have made some noise in Champions League over the last couple of years, made some noise around Europe in their own leagues, respectfully. So
that's going to be good.
I like Roma.
I kind of like Ajax coming out of that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Adam. definitely.
It's hard. It's always hard to bet against Ajax, you know.
I got some bets though. I got Dusan Tadic for God's sakes, and he's killing it.
Oh yeah, no, there's Ajax is phenomenal. I have a little weird soft spot for Roma. I never had like any interest in Italian football, so well, no, it was before Mkhitaryan. Like I just back, you know, when I was trying to really expand my horizons in the sport, I said I'd like to have a rooting interest in almost every league because it's more fun when you find a team that you're just kind of like, hey, I could root for this team. And Roma had some cool things to me, so I was like, you know, I'm just going to keep my eye on Roma. And now with another American playing in Europe and playing for Roma, and yes, I do like Mkhitaryan, and there's a few other guys on that team that I just like.
Is Chesney on that team?
I think he's gone now.
Is he?
Yeah, but
I didn't know if he was their starting keep.
No, they've been running with Paul Lopez, Spanish kid.
Hey, Stefan El Shaarawy is back in that team.
He's been like their main guy. But
the cast-off, the guy that was supposed to be like the next Totti, Stefan El Shaarawy.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dzeko. I've always liked Dzeko. So.
Oh God.
So, but I don't know. That I still probably see Ajax coming out of that one. That's just
same.
And then next in order, I guess we'll have to go. Arsenal and Slavia Praha.
That's gonna be tough.
What can I say? I said it before. Again, it was a stat that I was completely unaware of because if you watch Arsenal play, we're not a goal-scoring team, but we have been the highest-scoring team in this competition between group stages and knockout, and we're playing the team that lets up the least amount of goals almost in the entire freaking world. So between their actual league and this competition, so it's not going to be easy. Rangers are a good team, but we are Arsenal, and we are definitely a step above Rangers. That's why we're in the Premier League and, not the Scottish Premier League. So,
wow.
Whoa.
Obviously, that's just a joke because it's all about location. It's clearly all about location. That was quite the joke, but yeah. I was hoping Eddie was still on and get upset, but I'm dubious, man. I'm dubious. That's why I went with the name today. The roller coaster has been too up and down for me. It's like I'm on freaking nitro over at Six Flags, as being an Arsenal fan this year. So my expectations are tempered. I want to see the best out of them. I don't know what that lineup is right now. I feel like Arteta seems to have his finger on the pulse right now, and he knows what's going on with the guys in the locker room. And my captain has been fairly disappointing in his actions lately. I understand what he was going through earlier in the year, but right now I don't necessarily see excuses for what's going on there. But I think he's not been afraid to throw him on the bench and let Laka do his thing and let some of these other guys that have come in and really worked hard do their thing. Smith Rowe's been great. Odegaard's really been a nice little loan signing now from Madrid with the 2 goals in 2 different competitions. So big win over Spurs. Obviously, Spurs, again, are out of this competition. Thank God. What a glorious, glorious meltdown and debacle by a typical Spurs team. And now Gareth Bale can play all the golf that he wants. He has, I know you mentioned him earlier about his bicycle kicks. He's at a different stage. It's golf time. He'll international break. He'll get some time with Wales maybe and get some golf in. So Spurs are gone. Bye-bye. And
yeah. No, you're right. No, that was a big letdown for them. And not only was it a big letdown, it was a surprising letdown considering they were up 2-0 in aggregate in that matchup. Yep. And for them to come in and allow for someone to get a hat trick against them showed, hey, the big names on that squad just did not really come with it, And also, I said this in our group chat too. Look, if there was anything that shows the importance of your corner pieces, those players that are your superstars, the ones that you really, really, really need in the trenches when it comes down to it. You saw it when Son is huge for Tottenham. And not only is he huge, but a game that I don't know if we're going to have time to get into it, but, the AC Milan game, Pogba coming off the bench in the 60th minute and with one of his first touches scoring, that alone shows you the importance of these players. And sometimes we overlook those things, but Man U has not had any ounce of the form they had with when Bruno and Pogba are both healthy. Okay?
Right.
That's just the honest God truth, even if you get someone who I understand his star is fading somewhat, but Cavani, or the fact that Zlatan wasn't in that matchup, and they really didn't have anything in that matchup to really throw at them offensively, and you saw that.
Yeah, they played that stupid. Yeah, we can go right to that. I mean, they played that game incredibly stupid in my mind, Milan. They should have came out and just played an attacking type game, didn't worry about leaking a goal, and just try to put ball in the net and not sit back on a team and give them opportunities in United. And that's exactly what they did. And then by the time you blow Zlatan in, like, he got a couple opportunities, but with Zlatan, it's like you're going to get one or two. But if you could have fed him a couple more a little sooner and didn't have to put him in a bad position like that, you might have had a better chance. So it was poor performance by Milan. I was disappointed because I really want United out of here because I feel like that's Arsenal's biggest hurdle if they can get through this last one here. So but I'm definitely getting a Mislav Orsic jersey. I'm going to have to order one. And I have started a campaign for Arsenal to sign Mislav Orsic, even if it's to, like a little 6-month loan, just because of what that man did. Like,
that last goal was nice.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And it was.
And their kits are pretty fresh. Like, there's that Croatian style kit. Like, that's a fresh kit. I got to get that Mislav Orsic kit.
And what was sad about that is that it wasn't like they were pressed. There was a counter or anything like that. There was 5-6 Spurs in the box, at least 6, maybe even more than that in the box.
Dyer sucks.
That just Let's talk about that for a quick second.
He's trash.
He's trash, but yes, guess what? He's playing for England, and Trent's not. Exactly.
That's tough.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's a.
Is that a bias?
Yeah, it's a
Is that a Southgate just liking Eric Dyer?
Seriously, like how I saw what happened that week. I mean, and he hasn't had an amazing form all year or something like that. And
but anything's better than Eric Dyer's top form.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, Eric Dyer. Yeah, he's not good. So just to run it down, the team that did beat Spurs, Zagreb, they played Villarreal. Unai Emery's Villarreal is still alive, so that Arsenal Villarreal matchup could still happen too, which would be exciting. And then, of course, talking about grease pockets, we'll get it real quick. Obviously, Manchester United. Who do they draw? But
don't sleep on Granada.
Don't sleep on Granada. But
you know who they have? Roberto Soldado.
Good for Granada. They've outplayed everything, every bit of expectations they were ever expected to play with this year. Sooner or later, that run ends. They're not making a run at the Europa League title. I'm sorry, and it was just another gift for Man U. That's all that was.
Ask
another Man U gift.
Ask if Man U got a gift by getting Istanbul. So. Hey.
Yeah, well, you gotta. Hey, you get gifts. It's what you do with your gifts. That's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like talented guys that don't work hard. That's your choice.
The gift that they got was an exit to Europa, playing on Thursday.
Yeah,
as you still said. So.
Yeah, you don't want to overlook. You don't want to overlook these teams. But if you had one team, no matter what team you were sitting there. If you had to pick one team out of the 8 to match up with, I'm sure everybody that would have been your hand-selected team. So,
hands down.
That's all.
Hands down, I'll give you that.
So that's pretty much all we got the time for. We did talk next week's going to be big because next week is complete international break. So I know there's some stuff we want to get laid out and get set up for that. We do have an MLS preview show coming April 10th as well. So we are going to preview the MLS upcoming season on April 10th, being that the season starts that following weekend. We want to get it in before the first game kicks off. So we got that coming up as well. A lot of good U.S. games coming up. I know we talked about. So between the Olympic qualifying and the international friendlies, we'll have a couple of those being played before we're on the air again. So I'm excited to kind of take that direction going forward here.
Real quick, then, what are your yellow and red cards then?
I had one that was kind of funny. It's not like a serious one, but I just thought it was hilarious that I don't know if you saw Manchester United got a new shirt deal.
Yeah.
It's no longer Chevy.
Yeah.
And it's Team Viewer. It's a tech company apparently.
Yep.
And they're basically losing money.
They are.
They're losing 17 mil. So I just thought that was hilarious that I don't know what the ins and outs was with Chevy or why they didn't re-up or whatever the case may be. Or they're just trying to play pinch pennies or whatever the case is. I don't know what. I didn't read the article too in depth. I just saw that Man United was losing money.
That makes all of us smile. Or at least
I'm like,
everyone on this panel.
Tech company that I've never heard of.
Actually, I use TeamViewer. It's actually it's a pretty decent. It allows for you to be able to work someone else's computer, and you're able to like look at different things. And such.
Oh, nice. Well, respect to TeamViewer.
Yeah. Is there? Did you have one, Brian? Or you yellow?
Well, yeah. Again, I have another one that happened during today. So apparently some fans in Bilbao, which is set to be one of the host sites for the Euros 2020, even though we're already in 2021, that is still set to be tried to be played.
That's right.
But there is a lot of protests apparently going on with that because of health concerns and things like that. So the Atletico Bilbao game was interrupted today with a drone flying into the stadium carrying a flag protesting playing the Euros 2020. Wow. So I don't even know who to give the card to, if it's air traffic control, if it's security, or the people flying the drone. But I mean, safety concerns kind of scare you that drone was able to get in, and you see a picture of the ref holding it on the field with the players. So if it's carrying something other than a flag, that could be an issue. So we got to kind of get those things looked at going forward. I love technology, and I love that, we're in that era. But, we got to, with all these new advances in technology, we kind of got to have, action plans for things like that and make sure that these things aren't necessarily happening. So,
hey, air traffic control got paid off.
Spain's air traffic control gets my yellow card.
They got paid off. Like, yeah, we'll turn the blind eye. You can fly whatever in the stadium.
Yeah.
All good.
Landed right on the field in the 68th minute. So.
I had one. I was excited to bring it in because it goes along with your AC Milan and Man U comment, or at least Man U is that apparently Man U's one of the assistants bumped into the AC Milan manager after they won, and was bumped into him and was like, gave him a good team, huh? Like that kind of like a comment. And the AC Milan coach went off. He started like cursing and just went completely postal on this guy. And he later walked it back and apologized and said he didn't have a problem with Ollie, but it was with the assistant coach. But it was kind of funny to see that happen. And
I'm gonna guess there was a mid-game comment or exchange that happened during the game that then he was kind of rubbing it in his face after.
Oh no, this was
don't like that. And then especially physical.
Yeah, well, because to be honest with you, this Man U is vulnerable, and unfortunately, AC Milan who is a good team, not a great team. They're really banking on, when you're banking on, how is Lawton, like 36 years old or something like that.
Yep.
When you're banking on that player being the linchpin for all your goals and offensive output, that's really, really hurting your chances of saying, hey, we have a future. So that really hurt. And it just so happened that, he wasn't there for him and when the time was necessary. But I also wanted to give a quick shout out as apparently because I guess Matthew Hop or Hope, I believe you say Hop, right? Is Hope or Hop?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Hoppy?
Hoppy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's been talks about him possibly joining LFC. He's on their radar at least, which would be really, really cool. I definitely would like to see that. Obviously, since it's an American player. I definitely see him being more of like a Ryan Brewster style position or role on the squad if he does come. And I also like talks about Christian coming possibly, since Chelsea doesn't apparently like him anymore.
Hey, all's right in the world. He had an assist. He had an embrace with Tommy Tuchel. Everything's okay.
Okay.
Back to your super sub role.
Exactly. I'm just poking the fire a little bit. Hopefully, come to a squad that will appreciate you, Christian. Come to a squad that knows.
Will you appreciate?
Absolutely, will.
I don't know about that.
Absolutely.
It would be nice to have him with American owners. Just saying.
True that.
Yeah.
Not some crazy Russian
just
guy.
Just not our American owner. You don't want to.
No, don't go to Arsenal.
Yeah. We're gonna have a new owner soon. Don't worry.
That's what you think.
We're gonna be in. We're gonna have that. We're gonna have that.
I was gonna say your Megatron feature is coming in again
every time towards the end.
I know it's weird, but I was gonna say also, hey, Man U is apparently there's been talks about Man U possibly getting a new ownership coming in for them as well. There's supposedly a big time billionaire that's looking to try to buy them out, or at least buy a portion or something along those lines. So, hey, things happen. We got new money in LFC. We can spend some of it. Hopefully, we spend some of it. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
Wisely.
Yeah, LeBron James pitches in.
Exactly. Hey, we turned LeBron James from a Yankees fan to a Red Sox fan.
He's getting in on the John Henry. Hey, you want a piece of the Red Sox? Sure, why not?
Yeah. Oh, it's a gravy train for sure. I mean, yeah. Again, it gets to numbers. I'd love to have like a real numbers talk so that people, because there's so many different dynamics with it when it comes to the money aspect of sports in general. It gets so deeper than you just saying, I have camaraderie or a love for this player. Not many players get to see their jersey come on their back and come off their back with the same team being on the crest, and it's something that is different in today's world.
Yeah,
Tom Brady is a big case of that.
Absolutely. If LeBron wants to help the MLS, he should chip in and maybe buy an MLS club.
Hey, you never know. He could buy.
He's already 5%, right? So
he could. Yeah, he could.
5%.
He could possibly. Maybe he's going to put in for LAFC. Or
because they need all the money in the world with all their acting, with Will Ferrell and Mia and Nomar.
Hey,
Magic Johnson.
That's a pretty cool.
That's neat. All these guys throwing in some cash. They're getting their players, but they're still not winning shit. So funny how that works.
True.
Yeah. Hey man, it's been fun again.
Yeah.
Next week we got international talk. We'll roll into that. We'll go more U.S. senior team. We'll talk a little bit, maybe Euros as well. Who we like as favorites. As far as world international wise, we got France probably going to be the favorites there. I would say Portugal. Apparently, Portugal is the new team, even though they've won the Euros. I believe they won the last Euros.
They did.
So, yeah, a lot to talk about. Again, thank you everybody for joining in. Andrew Murphy checking in from the UK. Appreciate him with his
big place.
banter.
Big place today checking us out. So.
Absolutely. Riley, Jeff,
Appreciate
thank you. Everybody at
Everybody.
ATP.
Yes,
Hi.
please like, subscribe, follow. Tom
You might want to let Adam say that.
Please.
Y'all hear it.
Am I dying?
Yeah, it's very staticky. It's like the Megatron.
You're Megatron, but that's all right.
Straight Megatron, whatever. We're about to get the new Megatron in town, so if you want to talk football, stick to A2D, 1 o'clock, new show, Philly, on air. These guys are awesome. Good Eagles talk. So hopefully I'll be on that chatting about the Giants' new wide receiver.
Well, that's fantastic. And everybody have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the nice weather again here in the Northeast. It's beautiful out.
Yeah, go Gunners.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you, Lord.
Later.